Good evening and welcome to Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Kingsley Mano and I'm very happy to be here this evening to bring you up to speed with the latest happening revolving around the water sport. It is another exciting edition of the show, and of course we're ready, of course, to take you through the latest happening in the water sport. And on today's edition of the show, we shall take a preview of the UEFA Champions League matches, as well as other stories that are evolving around the world of sport. It promises to be an exciting one, as of course we'll be taking a look at the matches that will be played tonight in the UEFA Champions League. We'll take a short break now, and when we come back from this break, of course, we'll dive straight into the nitty-gritty of today's edition of the show. Please stay with us. Welcome back as the Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. Joining me on today's edition of the show is Jerry Daniels. Good evening to you, Jerry, and welcome to another exciting edition of Sports Extraordinary.
Yes, that's out there. Such a very captivating edition on to the Sophie dialogue, bringing you lots of stories going around the world of football and across other sports.
All right. Let's quickly take a look at what is happening in athletics as Nigerian Minister of Sport Development, Senator John Eno, has congratulated athletes Tobi Amusan and Sebrume for their outstanding performances at the 2023 Diamond League in Oregon, United States of America. World record holder Tobi Amusan over the weekend won the 100 meters women hurdle in 12.33 seconds to retain a Diamond League title. She also emerged as the only second woman in the history of the Diamond League to clinch a 300 meters hurdle titles in a row, equaling the record of Don Nelson Harper. The sports minister yesterday said that the victory was a beautiful way for Amusan to wind down an athletics season that brought joy, tears, and goosebumps. He added that her determination and mental strength was worth celebrating. And the minister also hailed the Nigerian long jumper Sebrume for her silver medal achievement in the women's long jump event, leaping to 6.85 meters as Ivana Boketa of Serbia won gold at the Diamond League in Oregon. And lauded the Nigerian for clinching silver despite missing out on gold by a very small margin. What do you make of the gesture from the sports minister talking about John Waneno to Toby Amusan and the likes of Isibrumi?
Yes, Senator, very good applauding the government. Also, this sporting they're not doing high profiling in home country. Who will as well congratulate them. And I want to really thank the sport minister, talking about Senator John, who has been able to raise up the ladder from where the immediate past sports minister stops on the diary, has been able to introduce uh, the sports ministry and to make those who are representing Team Nigeria across several competitions be able to compete favorably because of this welcoming and very, very acceptable platform in which John Owen and talking about the sports minister have been able to as well carry out and also prefer to them. So I wish them well in coming competition and also for the sports ministry and NFF. I wish them to progress in every endeavor.
Interesting one. And Toby Amusan, of course, she actually put up an impressive, performance at the Diamond League, winning the Diamond League, for the third consecutive time. I think that's actually was a very huge feat for Toby Amusan. Toby Isibrumi, as well as the long jump events, she also put up a very impressive performance. I think it was just a slim margin, for her to get the gold medal. But of course, luck wasn't really on her side, but she was able to take the silver medal. Of course, these athletes, they've made Nigerians proud, over time. And I think attention will be shifted down to the Paris 2024 Olympics, as it stand. And so far, so good. A whole lot of persons are not really, happy with the level of preparation, the level of success, in athletics, and when it comes to other sports as well, in the country. What do you make of it ahead of the Paris 2024 Olympic? Few months, to that particular one. Do you think, Team Nigeria, do you think we're prepared for this coming Paris 2024 Olympics?
Yes, building up on time and just into Paris has not really performed so far, where athletes have not qualified for Paris 2024 Olympics because when we look at this Olympics, it's an ultimate game in which we want to see our athletes perform favorably well and also be able to compete and win medals. And perhaps the least they could as well get is a podium finish, which is very much a laudable experience for them. But being able to even get to the first move past the first hurdle just to do with qualifications for the prize for the finding it difficult. So I want to really throw my weight behind those who have been able to qualify for prize 2024 Olympics because it's very, very much interesting to support our no matter who gets there, I should have at least a podium finish or get the ultimate title, which is a gold medal. So I really do want to throw my support behind them.
All right, let's say it is. We hope that the Athletic Federation of Nigeria will be very much, ready for the Paris 2024 Olympics. And I tell you, it's going to be interesting where we've seen other federations as well participating. So I think Nigerians really want to see an interesting outing at the Paris 2024 Olympic down. We won also at the Tokyo 2020 event. It has of challenging the decision to clear Toby Amusan of a doping violation after the body charged her with 3 whereabout failures in July before she was cleared by a panel in August. Amusan, who just won her third consecutive women 100 meters hurdle Diamond League title in Eugene on Sunday, will now have to go through a fresh legal battle at the courts of arbitration for sports. Amusan was first provisionally suspended by the Athletic Integrity Unit in July over the 3 whereabout failures, but the disciplinary tribunal ruled in favor of for the world record holder 2 days before the World Athletics Championship in Budapest, last month, and she was, however, unable to defend her title by Jamaica Daniel Williams. This is another issue for Toby Amusan after we thought that all was actually done and dusted. The athletic integrity is they are still, on the matter that, she couldn't, take the test, the well, for 3 times, in a year. And this time around, they're actually taking the matter very serious. They're taking it to the court of arbitration for sports. Do you see the Tobia Muslim getting past this one once again?
It's a very, very tough hurdle for Toby Amazon to get past because he has been found missing in the last 3 drug tests, which was actually looked at by the Athletic Federation. But at this point in time, the case has really resuscitated again. And we wouldn't say this case actually being resuscitated at this point in time is actually aimed at victimizing her, no. But it's actually aimed, perhaps they might have seen an incriminating evidence on the athlete talking about that they want to as well dig deep and find and perhaps be certain and clear that this athlete is clear of doping accusations, or if she's found wanting, she would actually go in for it. So I really think that it's not about victimization. It's about them doing their job to the best of their ability and their knowledge. Perhaps they might have found an incriminating evidence on her. So what they are trying to do at this point is able to carry out findings for them to perhaps settle their curiosity that this athlete is actually free of doping accusations. Or if she's not, they found an incriminating evidence for her, I think she will have to serve any term. But for me, I really think that it's a timely intervention by them as well do so that we can as well, they can as well get rid of every athlete that has engaged in doping saga and sanitize the federation with athletes.
Just like I mentioned and I asked earlier, would this be that easy for Toby Amuto? Yes, we know that she's actually provided, a strong reason of the fact that the team from the World Athletics Championship for the athletic integrity unit didn't do enough, of course, to locate her whereabouts. As it says, that was a strong reason, she gave. But if they couldn't locate you for the first time that he came for the test, the second time, the third time, why is it that for, the 3 times you were supposed to, carry out this test, you were not available and they were not able, to locate you? Why was it that, difficult? No, with this reason, do you think, Toby?
They are not. For 3 times, I think there's something fishy. There's an incriminating evidence in which you are trying to hide from the federation because it on one account you furnish them with your location, then they don't tell you when to come on their own out of their own volition. So if you have any incriminating evidence on you, I think they will surely meet you up with it. For me, it doesn't really stand a very huge chance to get past this one if there's no incriminating evidence on her because they already have one. Though she won at the tribunals, yes, which has to do with the accusation. But on the second hand, why were you missing on 3 occasions? So there's certainly something. I think they have found it, but they are not able at this point in time to establish it. So that's why an inquiry has been opened against after success. So they're able to establish the fact that there has something in which they are out all against. Then the proceedings can as well take place. So if proceedings actually take place, then they find out that there's actually nothing in can as well answer. But I think that they're just trying to settle their curiosity. I think they have spotted something which is contrary to their rules and ethics. So this doesn't really go down well with it. And sorry, Toby Amuson. She's just tangled in this imbroglio and she may not get out of it easily.
Okay, let's see how it is. And of course, that Nigerians are really, praying that Toby gets, out of for this particular one because, of course, when it comes to one of the best now, especially when it has to do with 100 meters hurdle, you definitely mention Toby Amuson, as it is. And I will pray, of course, she's able to get past this one and as well look forward for ahead of the Paris 2024 Olympics. But let's stay away from athletics as we talk boxing on the show as the final table of the just concluded pre-Olympic boxing qualifier has been reviewed by the organizers for the event. Nigerian boxers participated in the championship and performed well. Team Nigeria ended the championship with 3 gold, and 3 bronze medals to stay second on the table. And apart from getting gold medals, 4 of them also qualify for the Olympic Games in Paris. According to the chart, Algeria finishes the top team with 4 gold medals and the bronze, while Morocco stayed third behind Nigeria with 2 gold, 1 silver, and 3 bronze medals as well in that particular one. Impressive feats for Team Nigeria, Jerry. Taking up those, I think, 3 gold down there, 3 bronze medal, and as well 4 of
Activity is nothing short of the best because that's one of the ultimate prizes. And we also wish they can replicate this feat when it comes to Paris 2024 Olympics because it's such competition whereby for sports analysts and pundits, we are waiting to see in the coming months. So definitely, I tip them to get more goals in the from 2024.
a whole lot of persons are actually very happy with this performance, from the boxing federation down here in Nigeria. Like I mentioned, it's been a very long time we've seen the Nigerian Boxing Federation coming up with this, feats. I don't think it actually ends here because from what we observe over time, boxing has not really been, at its best down here in the country due to the fact that the Boxing Federation, I don't think they've been on their toes for some time. They have been not, we were not seeing, boxing competitions. You tend to get into, you get into a bout. It's only when you have the National Sports Festival, which comes in 2 years. In 2 years, every 2 years, and then I think there's a period of 2 years, and probably when you have a global event like this is only when you get into a bout. So the boxers do not stand a chance, to compete with maybe other boxers, probably in the country or outside the country. So maybe yes, equip themselves, tend to understand, tactics, from other boxers and all of that, to keep themselves equipped, especially ahead of the Paris 2024 Olympic. Yes, this ahead of the Paris 2024 Olympic, which they are preparing for at the moment. So I don't know what you make of it. How should the Boxing Federation of Nigeria salvage the situation?
It's a very, very disheartening situation because it needs to be salvaged by the Boxing Federation of Nigeria. Just like you rightly mentioned, when the competitions are over and for a period of time, will not be actively engaged. So for me, I really do think that the Boxing Federation of Nigeria should inaugurate tournaments, training exercises, and also tournament intermittently in order to keep these guys in shape. We also see a replica of that in football, game of football, and also in basketball somewhat. Especially the game of football, I can really attest to that. There are intermittent competitions whereby they are interlocked. You don't have a long rest period so you don't become match rusty. So when it comes to the Boxing Federation, the only way out is for the Federation, Nigeria Boxing Federation, to put themselves in order, first of all, and come up in time. I think they tend to get ring rusty. They don't have to function effectively. They only get actively engaged when it has to do with the bout. But when intermittently you have competitions that are springing forth from every nook and cranny at every point in time, maybe just have 2-week period, and that 2-week period you're using it to even rehearse and carry on some practice and rehearsal. Then the next 2 weeks you're having a competition. That will keep them on their toes, and you won't be being rusty. So the panacea to this problem, because it's a problem. Panacea to this problem is just let the Boxing Federation in Nigeria come up with competitions and tournaments that will certainly help the Federation and help these boxers who are coming up achieve greater heights. I see them getting the results.
All right, so we hope that the Boxing Federation of Nigeria down here, of course, will put things right. Try to create, competition, grassroots, competitions down here to make sure that these boxers, of course, keep themselves fit. We talk about grassroots, programs where young boxers have been on edge as well. These are things we don't really see, in the country, and we've been complaining and talking about, boxing not really, yielding, or not really, we're not really seeing success when it comes to boxing in the country. Over, I think before late, let's say 80s and the 90s, we had boxers, they were doing very well. But this
Yeah.
time around, boxing has not been at its best. But thank God that we've gotten four boxers now that will be going to the Olympics. And I think this should be, a wake-up call to the Boxing Federation to try and what is can to see how they can stabilize this, performance from of what we're seeing, after at the moment. So let's stay away from boxing as we take a look at, tennis on the show as the Honorable Minister of Sport Development, Senator John Wanino, congratulates Team Nigeria athletes for making the country proud at the 2023 African Senior Table Tennis Championship held in Tunis, as Tunisia between September 11 to 17, 2023. The minister said on behalf of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and all Nigerians, he said, and I quote, he said, and I quote, I heartily congratulate these incredible athletes for bringing glory to the country in faraway Tunisia, defeating all comers on the continent and the foreign soil. I take resilience, hard work, strength, and discipline. Now, why the path to success has not been easy, the sense of patriotism remained unwavering. This actually came from the Minister of Sports, John Owaneno. And talking about that particular championship, African top-ranked player Aruna Quadri won gold for Nigeria and the men's single after defeating familiar foe Ahmed Salah of Egypt by 4-0. In the final match played at Tunisia, the victory ensured Quadri retained his African title at the same venue where he lost the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games ticket. Now, in the women's doubles event, Nigerian duo of Funko Shonaike and Fatima Bello combined their experience and youthful energy to overpower Cameroon's Sarah Afro and Egypt's Mawa at Derby 3-2 as the Nigerians clinched gold in the post-18 final. It was such an impressive event for the Nigerian table tennis player Aruna Quadri, Funko Shonaike, and the lady Fatima Bello as well. This is an impressive feat, and the sports minister also showed them some kind gesture. But let's talk about table tennis, Jerry, just like we talked about in the Boxing Federation of Nigeria. Aruna Quadri has been there for a very, very long time.
Yeah,
I
long
think
time.
he should be like 34, 35 now, as it is. But apart from Aruna, he took in the male category. I think trying to remember the other, players now. But in the female category, where you have the likes of Funke Shonaka, Fatima Bello, Effiong Edem, the rest of them, I think we've not really seen new names coming up when it comes to table tennis, in the country. And I think it's also a call for the Table Tennis Federation as well. So also look at this direction. Aruna Quadri will not be there um, after some time now.
Yeah.
He might only retire from the sports. So who is going to be there, to headline things, when it comes to table tennis for Nigeria? Funko Shunake, Fatima Bello, they might not be there for a very long time. So for me, I haven't really seen much, program, probably grassroots programs, from the Table Tennis Federation to see how they can replace these, table tennis stars that we have, as it stands.
Yes, you have rightly mentioned something that's really, really striking. For decades, we have seen Aruna Kodri compete favorably.
Mm.
We've seen him lose, just like in 2020. 2020 where he lost. We have seen him win a lot titles and competitions. And for Funke Oshunaika and Fatima Bello, these are household names when it comes to table tennis in Nigeria. And they have been on the lips of sport pundits like us and sport fans all over who love table tennis. And they have been around for quite a long time, quite a very long time. If this crop of people or crop of sporting athletes then choose to retire imminently, who would certainly fill in their shoes? Yes, not that we don't have programs that as well train those who have who nurture the ambition of participating in the wider perspective. But most of them, are they up to their best? Are they performing at a very high altitude? can they be comparable to those outside the shores of Africa? So
Mm.
all these odds, we're trying to look at them. That's why we tend to feed our best. But certainly, certainly, there will be a time Arana Kode will call it off. Fatima Bello will call it off. Nka Oshunaike will call it off. So where are they? So for me, I really do think that they should keep the doors open. There are so many talented table tennis players in Nigeria. When they keep the doors open, these people can as well come into the federation. And with what they can offer, they are being able to be selected with table tennis players outside Africa and around the world. Yes. But are they really recruiting those who are able to compete? Are the doors widely open? Or are they making their choices based on sentiment? So for me, I really think training programs should as well be on the way in this federation to also help discover new talent, recruit new talent that can as well fill up the shoes of those who have been aged long in the game, so that they would actually take a new turn and bring out the result.
All right, let's stay away from table tennis as we talk boxing on the show this evening. That's Tyson Fury. I know has Tyson Fury, of course, has said he has no interest in fighting Anthony Joshua, despite the fact that boxing fans are longing for an all-bridges bout between the two heavyweights. Fury described Joshua as a big bomb dozer who was beaten by a fat man, and stated their bout was dead in the water, following AJ's second defeat to Alexander Usyk. The Gypsy King, who is taking on Francis Nkono in a highly anticipated crossover bout in Saudi Arabia next month, says he is more interested in fighting the likes of John Jones. Fury told newsmen that he was only interested in bouts that would make him a lot of money, and he said there is more potential in fighting an American like Jones than there is in fighting Joshua. However, Eddie Hearn has come out to deny such claims and said there is massive money available for all bridges between AJ and the Gypsy King. Talking about Tyson Fury. What do you make of this one? Is it that Fury is trying to dodge this bout that has been, that the fans, of course, boxing fans, has been looking for some years now?
Yes, me as a boxing fan, I've also been anticipating this fight between Tyson Fury and also Anthony Joshua. For me, I really do think that Fury is not trying to perhaps appear in the rings against the Grand-born Joshua, because you've seen how formidable Joshua has been, irrespective of the fact that in the game, but he has seen how formidable Anthony Joshua has been in the rings, and he has really shown resilience, talking about Anthony Joshua in the boxing world. So for me, I don't think Tyson Fury is as well comparable to form Anthony Joshua is right now. That's why perhaps he's not interested in that game. And for us boxing fans, we are actually interested to see that fight actually happen and take place, because it's a very, very huge fight between two formidable opponents that are going to make the ring very hot, and around the globe, sports followers to be entertained and thrilled. But for me, I really do think that he's not ready to be in the rings against Joshua.
Okay, let's keep our fingers crossed and see how this one, of course, unfold. In the coming days, will boxing fans, of course, get to see that bout? Anthony Joshua against Tyson Fury. That's what, of course, we'll wait to see if that will come to fruition. Well, we'll take a short break now, and when we come back from this break, of course, we'll take you through the beautiful world of football. Please stay with us.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought a very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Welcome back, T Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. And of course, I will bring you the latest revolving around the world of sport. Let's talk football on the show as here Manchester United captain Bruno Fernandes was involved in a dressing room fight that involved three other players. The squabble followed the Red Devils Trigos won defeats to Brighton at the Premier League last weekend. And Fernandes is said to have confronted Scott McTominay after the match at Old Trafford. And the centre-back appearing of Lisandro Martinez and Victor Lindelof also engaged in a heated exchange in the dressing room. It took manager Erik ten Hag's intervention to restore order among the squad. And United have now lost 3 out of 4 their first 5 Premier League matches and sits in 13th place on the table. They are away to Bayern Munich tomorrow in the first Champions League clash of this season. But Jerry, what do you make of this issue? A whole lot of controversy at Manchester United. What do you think, could be the problem of all of this, we're seeing at the moment?
Well, we understand the squabble actually emanated from the loss to Brighton and Hove Albion on the weekend at Old Trafford. It's certainly disheartening that the team based in Manchester, talking about United, actually lost Brighton and Hove Albion. They never expected this. What football fans were expecting was a draw. United takes a point home. But that was the case where Brighton and Hove Albion actually got 3 goals and 3 points home. At this point in time, Erik ten Hag needs to get hold of the dressing room because we saw the squabble between Bruno Fernandes and Scott McTominay and the defensive duo about the and Lisandro Martinez. To actually got involved to a misunderstanding. Actually, got erupted in the back room. It wasn't that beautiful because when we see professionals like actually get misunderstanding with themselves, we hope that this could resolve them. But leading to an outburst, not really palatable years of sports and sports followers like us. So it's not really a very good one. But for me, I really do think that they should put themselves in order. One thing about it is that Man United have been able to recruit players over the years and just in the window. That's on the cement, so but they are not. These players are still. They have not been able to live up to expectation between the shortest possible time. And perhaps United do not really have that time to as well give to this player. the other side, they may tie it down to the fact that they are, when I'm talking about the Glaziers, not really enough both in financial and moral support club in order for them to that formidable side they were 10, 15 years. So it ties down a whole lot. But I hope that they're able to settle the differences and also get back on track.
I hope, of course, that the players will be able to settle their differences and get back on track. And Manchester United faithfuls, I mean, their fans, I think they are praying at the moment because if this, bias or probably crisis, continue, it will really, hinder the growth of the team.
It will hinder the growth of the team because looking at this point in time, they are in the Champions League, they'll play the Premier League, and the FA Cup, three most important competitions and tournaments across Europe. So if they're not able to keep their feet in order, they're not even appear in the UEFA Champions League next year. They may find themselves in the Conference League, which is not very palatable for them. So for me, I really do think that they should try and put their house on that, settle things and differences amicably. One thing about it is that every time I complained of one thing, they were not they not express this passion, especially when they are not with the ball. So in a situation whereby you don't play as a team, I think doing things individually just cause you more harm, bring more harm than because you score a goal, in as much as goal comes in, even from a goalkeeper, been accounted for that. Man United actually not Andrew Onana winning. So at this point in time, I think teamwork is paramount, at least above everything. This Man United team, because I see that that's one thing that is very much lacking. This person is trying to do things on his or her own accord. You see players being mad frosty. You see players not giving their best on the field of play. And you see them as a very about situation. You see a player who is just concerned about doing his or her own job alone. And not even doing it, but that person is not even doing it well. And if you don't do your job properly, I think it will also constitute nuisance to other people who tend to do theirs, because you as a striker, you don't tend to put the ball at the back of the net often. I think it will cause dismay. The midfielders who are supplying you with these passes, and also the defenders who are trying to keep the ball getting at the back of the net, and also the goalkeeper who is in between the stakes in order to stop the goal. So if teamwork is being incorporated into the frame of things for Man United, I really do think that they will get those results, because three losses out of 5 games spells bad for them at the start of the season.
Teamwork needed at Manchester United, and we'll see how this one, of course, pans out in the coming days. Let's talk about the UEFA Champions League. So we're seeing some matches tonight, and Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has come out to say that City haven't done anything special, haven't won just one Champions League. City will open the defense for their Champions League crown at home against Red Star Belgrade today. And of course, City will switch their attention from the Premier League to Masters in Europe when they take on Red Star Belgrade, and they begin the defense for their Champions League crown at Thomas. The Serbian outfit play visits and starts a proceeding in the Group G. Pep Guardiola has guided his team to a stellar start in the Premier League, winning all for their 5 games so far. Now the weekend, they were handed a card after West Ham took the lead. Manchester City were unable to break the hammers for a long period. Compared to Manchester City, rock solid form this season, Red Star Belgrade have been very much wobbly, having lost 2 for their last 3 games. Vesta will hope for a miracle in Manchester to get a positive result. Similar to the host, the Serbian champions also picked up 4 victories from as many games as the stats for their campaign, but the recent fixtures have not been kind to their cause. Now, as they stand, Red Star Belgrade will open their Champions League campaign as underdogs in Group G, and that's a particular encounter against Manchester City. All right, it's going to be an interesting one, but Pep is saying that Manchester City, of course, they have to do more when it comes to winning the UEFA Champions League. Winning that, winning just one is not enough. Do you see Pep winning more Champions League titles with this Manchester City side?
Yeah, this Manchester City side just became formidable some past 10 years ago. I can remember United players, likes of Carlos Tevez, exclaiming that all through the years he played for United, never knew there was another Manchester team, City of Manchester, talking about Manchester City. So this Manchester City team actually got in the last decade, and within the last decade, they have been able to lift, if I'm not mistaken, 7 Premier League titles and just 1 Champions League trophy. So when you look at other teams talking about the likes of Manchester United, Chelsea, who have been able to lift 1 and more Premier Champions League titles, you can say Manchester City is nowhere to be found close to Manchester United and Manchester FC when it comes to Champions League trophies. That's why Guardiola is saying that there's no big deal there. But I really see him actually retaining the title because of the group of players, tactical prowess in which he has. It's never going to be an easy ride. We saw the final on June against Inter Milan. It wasn't people from all walks of life were saying it's going to be an easy ride. 3 goals in the first half and it's sealed. But we saw how the game panned out to be in the first half and a narrow goal margin in the second half, whereby Manchester United just won. Manchester City just won by a goal to nil. So it's never going to be easy. It's going to be a thick and tough contest, whereby if he doesn't have to place his foot well, certainly fall off the pecking order, including winning the domestic trophy, because other teams have sprung forth and are willing to compete favorably with the City team. So for me, it's not going to be an easy ride, but I see him do retaining the trophy.
All right, so let's say it is Manchester City, of course, will be national against Red Star Belgrade tonight. That's one of the fixtures. We'll also see AC Milan against Newcastle United. This promises to be an interesting fixture to watch out for, Jerry.
Yes, Newcastle has made a return to the Champions League after decades of being away. You could understand that tactical prowess by the head coach, talking about Eddie Howe, has brought them back to Champions League. And we're seeing AC Milan, who have been European champions for 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. The last one came in 2007, quite some years ago, and we're seeing them in the frail of things right now. Last season, they ended in the semi-final position, if I'm not mistaken, the quarter-final position. They actually got a very good finish last time, but this time they are hoping to replicate those good gestures and also improve more. They're able to lift it, so good for them. But that match, I think it's on now. It's really, really going to be very, very thick and very thick content. We saw the likes of the retired player, talking about Zlatan Ibrahimovic, appear in the training, and they lost their domestic game to Inter Milan, if I'm not mistaken, 5-1. So we saw Zlatan Ibrahimovic brought into the frail of things to complement these boys that they can as well do better and resuscitate the momentum. It was down so that they can as well perform creditably very well in this competition.
I also see young boys against RB Leipzig as well tonight, and Barcelona will be national against Antwerp. Another moment, for Xavi, to show his managerial progress once again in the UEFA Champions League.
Yes, it was really the devastating attempt last season, because we saw Barcelona drawn of Inter Milan and how they crashed out early in the tournament, leading to their entry into the Europa League, and how they were as well ousted by Manchester United. And when we look at it, we are able to see that Xavi Hernandez has been able to impact into the team by bringing players of high quality such as João Felix and João Cancelo. And we're also seeing Ferran Torres on top of the list. We're also seeing La Masia graduate, talking about Lamine Yamal. He's doing fantastically well. And veteran striker, talking about the Polish international, Roberto Lewandowski, who has been competing favorably. Though Jose Koundé is injured, but they are not feeling it at this point in time, because it's a João Cancelo there who is even filling his shoes properly. Even Ronaldo Araujo is injured. But when you look at this, these are 2 consistent players who are out resting, but they are able to fill in their shoes. Tactical prowess of Xavi. So for him, I really do think that he has a point to prove this year's Champions League. See him going far.
Dressing one, let's see how far Barcelona will go with this one. And Feyenoord will be national against Celtic as Lazio, of course, looking against Atletico Madrid. Paris Saint-Germain, they will be national against Borussia Dortmund, and this promises to be another interesting time. Paris Saint-Germain under Luis Enrique. What do you make of this one for them?
Yes, Luis Enrique has been able to attract so many talents, including the likes of Ousmane Dembele, Emmanuel Ugarte, Marco Asensio, so many players, youngsters, and also formidable Kylian Mbappe, who has actually cemented his place over time in the Paris Saint-Germain squad. Though there will be no Neymar, there will be no Lionel Messi in the frame of things, and also Julian Draxler, who just made the move to Qatari side club recently. So at the frame of things now, Paris Saint-Germain has been up and doing in their game, though they lost their last game to OGC Knights, 2-3, and packed their parents. But they are able to as well rejuvenate themselves from the 2-3 loss, which was suffered by them on their ground, and also get the resulting win in the Champions League, because one of the utmost goal of this PSG team is to as well lift the UEFA Champions League. That is one of the most interesting things that can come their way anytime. So that's why they have even brought in the likes of Luis Enrique and his team as well won the treble in 2015 with FC Barcelona. Be able to as well, because the usual thing is winning the Ligue 1, and it's almost like
coming in on
a tradition. So for the Paris Saint-Germain head coach, talking about Luis Enrique, former Barcelona coach, he wants to win Champions League with the club, Paris Saint-Germain. So I wish him well in the coming months.
All right, Shakhtar Donetsk will also be national against FC Porto. Those are the matches we're expecting tonight in the UEFA Champions League, and we'll keep our fingers crossed and see how the results unfold tonight. It's been an interesting one, of course. Bring you the latest evolving around the world of sports. Especially thanks to Jerry for doing justice on the stories that we have for you today. We'll be back tomorrow by 9 a.m. For Sports Talk. Do what to join us as a promise to be another exciting time. Talking sports on Atlantic Television Network. Don't forget, peace and unity are with the pathways to progress. And we can't go without telling you that the Nigerian Boxing Federation, they are sport extraordinaire today for, of course, securing tickets, the ticket for the Paris 2024 Olympic. 4 boxers, of course, actually secured the tickets for the Paris 2024 Olympic. And that's an impressive feat for the Nigerian Boxing Federation, because it's been a long time we saw that coming from the federation. And with that, to call it a wrap, and don't forget that peace and unity was the pathways to progress. My name is Manuel. Thanks for watching.
So now, this is when they're at their best. And when they're